In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
On that morning show with GMP. Only just though, right? Look, I've got to confess, I cut it a bit fine this morning, assuming that my ducks would be in a row. Good morning to you, Mr. and Mrs. Duck. See you later. Yeah, okay, look. Thanks for your help, everybody, this morning. Wake up! It wasn't that. I was enjoying being in bed this morning and cozy. And I thought, okay, I'm gonna just take it right down to the wire. And it perhaps wasn't the best morning to do that because when I came back, assuming that things would be in place and I would just be able to jump into my hot seat here and run with it, I hadn't even set the show up, as some people also noticed and very kindly sent me WhatsApp messages this morning. Anyway, should we draw a line under that and move on? What is it that grandmothers and wise people say? Least said, soonest mended. But yes, actually, those of you who do have my WhatsApp number, I'm very happy for you to give me those reminders. It makes me feel wanted and loved, if nothing else. Yes, so get out of bed from the prof this morning. Oh, he's returned to his a more recent YouTube profile pic. I really like how you illustrate your history lessons by changing your YouTube profile pic. But back to Severa this morning and the OLP in the house. Good morning, Gumpers. Thank you very much, OLP, for being here this morning. And bon dia, Gumpers. Strangest thing, couldn't find the show on Safari browser. I'm on Chrome right now. It's because it wasn't there. I'm so sorry to cause such concern and such a flurry of worry this morning. Hola, bon dia a todos, especialmente Andy y Owen de Pombal. So from Pombal this morning, Matty. Isn't it amazing? He's not in Amsterdam anymore. In case you're wondering where Matty in Amsterdam is, he's in Pombal now, as you can see there from the screen. And he's shouting out to Andy and Owen, who are, of course, the guests after 9 o'clock this morning, after a gentle amble into the day. Lovely picture for you. I did manage to walk the dogs this morning. I did my normal routine, but tried to do it in too short a time. But I did capture this image for you. Look at that. I posted up a picture yesterday of Mrs. M planting up some physalis plants in the garden yesterday afternoon. It was a beautiful day. A real contrast to the day before when it was damp and wet and cold, and it was really hard to get started. Yesterday was very different. The bones were warmed yesterday, and it's looking like it might be similar today. And look at that. That's captured this morning by the pampas grass. I'm not sending out a covert signal to those adventurous people in life by putting up a picture of pampas grass. I can assure you, I do not want DMs, PMs of that kind, just showing you the bright sunshine rising and blessing the Silver Coast this morning. And I hope it's blessing you either now or sometime today, wherever you are. So there you go. Look at that sunshine in Portugal this morning on the 12th of January, 2022. How's it going? We're past Blue Monday now, aren't we, in all that malarkey? And we are making of it what we will. This new year, because it's like all bets are off, isn't it? There's quite a blank canvas in many ways. So many things that we could have taken for granted in previous years just aren't there, are they? And so there's a space in which we can generate the year as we see fit, either individually or collectively, or a bit of both, probably. That's probably the way to go about it, isn't it? Who else is here this morning? Cindy B. Yes, enjoying a beautiful San Martino de Porto this morning. Bon dia, alegria, Gumpers from a beautiful SMDP this morning. Day 253. No driver's license. So no change there, but we are enjoying this It's not a countdown, is it? It's kind of a countdown towards you having your Mrs. Duck's driving license exchange, but it's a count up. 253 might soon be a year, and we should celebrate, shouldn't we? When that moment comes, of course. Let's get the champagne on ice ready for that. Bon dia, alegria a todos. Or talking, I mean, I've gone from talking about the power of manifestation, the law of attraction, etc., creating your own reality. Should we create a group thought project to manifest Mrs. Duck's driving license on their dining table right there through the post? It's arrived. It is being opened by Mr. Duck now and proudly being presented, although probably best for people to open their own mail. It's being opened by Mrs. Duck now, and she is letting out a rather relieved, woohoo, I have my driving license. So that's my positive visualization. If at home you could cross your fingers and your toes and what other appendages you're able to cross alone or with each other, let's give it a go and see if we can. I mean, because this is the thing, but affirming no driver's license every day might be combing the energy waves of the universe in a certain direction, Mr. Duck. Had you ever thought of that? So let's visualize Mrs. Duck opening her purse to reveal a Portuguese driving license. And if you can thank me tomorrow if it turns up later today after that. Wouldn't that be amazing, though? Wouldn't that be incredible to have that as a little bit of a YouTube segment, the time that they manifested a driving license exchange? And if it works, I could just see this as well. Link would be good. All right, Andy. You're joining me at 9, aren't you? But yes, forearmed, or be prepared. Going back to our Boy Scout guest yesterday. Copy to clipboard. Let's send that to the doc now. Yeah. Link would be good, lol. He's got a sense of humor about it, so we're sending that over to him now. Andy and the doc a bit later. But yeah, a manifestation experiment. Positive vibes. I think, Mr. Duck, understandably, you are getting a bit peevish about this. And you would like Mrs. Duck would like the driving license exchange to be a complete. Let's stay positive, open, and in a manifesting mood and manifesting mode, shall we? Good morning, people, from Lee McGrady, the head gardener this morning, permaculturist Lee McGrady. Bon dia todos, and I will never comment on your spelling, Lee, after that stern warning from you. Bon dia todos, nice that I'm scared. Nice that I'm as late as Carl this morning, says Ian. All right, everybody. Punctuality is no, it's not. It's a very good thing. I was going to say it's overrated, but maybe it's good to mix it up. Maybe I'll start maybe I'll repay you that 5 minutes tomorrow morning by starting early. Different kind of complaint. And that's the problem, isn't it? Order, counter order, disorder. When those three things occur, if we don't stay in integrity, this is what happens. So I take it firmly on the chin. Nice that I am as late as Carl this morning. Cold but sunny here in Hertfordshire this morning. Busy organising our trip to Praia da Luz next month. That's great, Ian. Great, Coach Turner, that we're hearing that. And when you first talked about going to Praia da Luz in the new year in February, it seemed like such a long way away. And in fact, it could be as little as 3 weeks away. So that's fantastic news. Coach Turner, you can meet him and shake his hand in the Algarve and run along semi-naked along the beaches of the Algarve when we reenact scenes from Baywatch in our own Greywatch style. Why worry? We worry about you when you don't show up. The picture, again, in terms of the law of attraction and the powers of manifestation, do not think of anything bad happening to me, please. Think of only good things, that I am dribbling and snoring still in bed in a reverie of sweet dreams. Okay, that is my wish for your wish for me. Morning to Lee McGrady. Going to plant some more ranunculus today. A lot of people buy ranunculus just so that they can say the word ranunculus. I'm enjoying saying it this morning. I intend to have a flowery spring. Fantastic. And the top tip that came from Monday from head gardener McGrady was that although the garden centres are full of plants at the moment and gadgets and everything for the new year, new gardening season, be careful buying and planting some of those plants. Maybe wait a little bit because the garden centres, he suggests very cynically, don't mind if you plant them up. They get hit by a frost and then you have to buy some more. They wouldn't do that, would they? But anyway, there's a tip from the head gardener. The very down-to-earth, grounded fella as he is, and he's probably right. It's all working now. Wait long enough, and sometimes things simply resolve themselves. That's so true, isn't it? And what percentage would we put on that? In our younger years, we're driving away, aren't we? Pushing and shoving, and trying to make things happen and trying to deal with our mistakes. And it's exhausting, isn't it? And then you learn at a certain age. Tell me what age you learned this, where actually, if I do nothing here, this will probably blow over and things will be fine, for one. And what percentage would you say of things in life do just correct themselves without loads of humans getting their knickers in a twist? Science this morning. Follow the science. I've been having more bust-ups on Facebook about science. Anyway, bon dia, Carl. For some reason, the link would not load up for me this morning. 9 minutes late joining in, 15 minutes yesterday. Yep, I can explain. And perhaps you heard my earlier explanation. I hadn't even set a show up. Must do better. If I'm a little Bart Simpson, right, I must schedule the show the night before. I made the slide. I made the tile for YouTube and then did not. I can show you that now, actually. Let's just have a little look at the doc's cheeky face, shall we, in anticipation of his arrival in just over 15 minutes. There he is. Ask anything about health. That's how we're going to roll after 9. Ask anything about health in Portugal with Andy The Doc Thompson on Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday. With added Owen this morning. He's been cooking up a storm over there in Leiria with Doc and family in Casa Thompson. I think, is that what they're called? I don't think they are they? They're one of those modern mixed up name thing jobs over there. But anyway, they've been having some lovely grub made by Owen over there in Leiria, and I think we got pictures to prove it. And he'll be cooking live again. Not only this week, this Wednesday is Owen showing up, but he's everywhere. That man, it's like Gordon Ramsay, isn't he? Or who's the other fella? Jamie Oliver. Is he called Jamie Oliver? He's everywhere, but not overexposed by any means. Glad to see Owen on a screen, and we'll see him again next Wednesday with another live cooking demo from the amazing Austin Brothers Studios in Alvagra. Mark's here this morning with a Bon dia Alegria Todos. Brian Taylor's in as well. Pete's here as well. Doc bringing the boys to the yard. Doc Thompson, proud to call ourselves expats, as this morning Boris was laying down in the back seat to avoid the press. Was he really? He might not be well. Don't prejudge. Let's take it at face value, shall we, as we're used to doing with Boris. He was lying down in the back seat to avoid the press. Makes you proud to be out of there, says Pete. Brian, can we hear more about you as well, Brian? But nice of you to show up. Nice to get a location as well. Anything we can help you with. And yes, Peter, the Doc sticking the boot in when it comes to Boris as well this morning. I think quite a few people are, aren't they? But who would replace him? Sorry to get a bit British here. It's all very well wanting to see the back of Boris, but are we going to go for long Covid instead? Nobody wants that. Funny things, except Michael Gove himself. Funny things online this morning. Still sunny here, but chilly. And the day to get out in the garden, or did you manage to do a little bit of that yesterday as well, Paul? Or on the homestead there on the plot? 1 month till I get that magical feeling of the plane door opening. Oh, let's savor this for a moment, shall we? So 1 month until Deagle gets that magical feeling of the plane door opening, cabin to cross-check has taken place. You have been asked to take all your belongings with you. Please make sure to take all your belongings with you. And thank you for flying on this EasyJet flight into Faro in Portugal. Enjoy the rest of your day. And they open the doors up, don't they? The lovely folks on the plane open the doors up. And yes, we know that, don't we? Let's just enjoy that for a moment, shall we? Ooh, yes, the lovely humidity and heat hitting our faces. One of the best feelings you ever have, isn't it? It certainly is. And I do remember that from a few flights around the world. The one time it shocked me a little bit was in somewhere, I think in the Middle East, where there was a gentleman with a machine gun waiting, just as a guard for us, not for anyone else. I don't think they were looking for anybody, but that took the edge off the heat hitting my face before I got used to that sort of thing. Matty's here shouting out to his man cave brethren there. Look at that. That's going to give you a sore throat, Andy. A sore keyboard. Possibly. We can ask the Doc in a little while what he prescribes for a sore keyboard. Thunder Duck, mid-March here for Mrs. B. No driver's license in 10 months. Paid for it, same time as me, and I had mine 8 months ago. No rhyme or reason there. And Francis is here, so shared pain of driving license swaps there. Ask anything about health when the doc joins, but think locals can help too. How is the Portugal school system equipped to assist out-of-the-box kids with learning challenges, ADHD specifically? Let's see if we can help with that this morning. Nice horn you're growing on your right forehead there, Carl. Hope your pain has reduced. Well, it's actually a Harry Potter. So be careful what you say to me. It's a Harry Potter style scar. And my magical powers are developing as the scar is developing, Matty. So enough of your horn business there. But who doesn't like a horn in the mornings? Hey, Deagle McKinnon, same here. It was a production glitch. It wasn't a production glitch. It was me and my fault. Stop complaining, viewers, about Carl being late. You get this for free anyway. Yeah, shut up. Mike Campions, thanks, Gary. Ponte Alegria to pay. No, some people pay. The people with a little membership S by their names, I do feel especially bad. Not too bad, you'll understand, because I think they do forgive me from time to time. And we would hope for that, wouldn't we, in this lovely community of ours? But the little sign next to James Holly's there shows him to be a YouTube member for a monthly subscription, gets a few exclusives every now and then. And the warm glow of knowing that he's contributing to keeping this show on the road, even if it's 5 minutes late sometimes. Bon dia alegria from Mike and Maggie. Should have our NIFs in a week or two. Who doesn't like a NIF in the first thing in the morning? That should open a few doors to getting things organised. We can't wait. It's a really brilliant curve, the old NIF, because you run into it thinking, yes, look at me, I'm a NIF-owning person. And then you realise it's the key to all taxation woes forevermore thereafter. Bon dia. Bon dia, that would be an interesting twist. Bon dia, todos, for Antonio F, for the rest of the community. And today, morning, Antonio, and this day in Portuguese history, 1890. The doc will appreciate this. He likes this. If you want to put a pub quiz team together, it's going to have to be the prof, the doc. I think probably Duck, Mr. Duck, and James would be the dream team. No disrespect to anyone else, but they seem very kind of fact-based fellas to me, and a very male team there on my pub quiz team. Not being sexist, just the first 4 people that come to mind that got myself in trouble now, I think. Today in Portuguese history, 1890, the night after the British ultimatum, composer Alfredo Kiel, at the suggestion of a group of friends, wrote the melody for A Portuguesa as a nationalist retort. And I'm not sure if it's clear from that became the national anthem thereafter, did it not? Please clarify that, pub quiz team. Natural pub quiz team member, Prof. Go! I have my frost cover ready. Not my first garden road yet. Okay, Jessie knows about these things. I was just trying to be helpful. See, road tales paved with good intentions, and no good deed goes unpunished, does it? Bon dia, alegria, deliria, or mundo. So what I'm going to do, they're here nice and early, sat like a couple of old geezers down the pub. Let's bring them on to
and then when I went back,
I've caught them unaware.
I think
they're going to be on at 9. All right. We let them have their chat. Yeah, they might be talking about something very intimate there. Owen might be asking for a certain kind of cream or ointment for something. Oh no, they have noticed now. Sorry, did I disrupt your station? I'm so sorry, gentlemen. How are you? Oh, we got a bit of a delay, haven't we?
Okay.
Other tech
We're
issues.
good, thank you, Carl.
Okay. Hopefully that time lag will catch up a little bit. Bon dia alegria, deliria to you both. Great to have you both on the screen so we can take questions about health as well as Portuguese food and cooking. Is that right? Let's leave a 30-second lag for that.
Indeed, yeah. I'm going to try and sort the lighting out. Maybe if I close that shutter, because we're very much
much in the shadows.
Did someone speak?
This is not my usual camera.
Right. Okay. It looks like, it's like, no offense, guys, but it looks like I've walked into a drug den or something like that. So yeah, some bit of studio lighting.
Unfortunately, not, Carl.
Not prescribing today. Okay, bon dia from a cold, frosty UK. Live lighting happening at the Doc's gaff this morning. We're going to put some questions to them in a minute, including Francis's question. Bon dia from a cold and frosty UK from Gary. Andy, how was the market shopping yesterday after I left? So lots of, let's call it networking going on in the community. Have you guys all been down the Leria market together? Well, lighting's a bit better, but the sound
was fantastic.
Yeah. Okay.
Perhaps Owen wants to talk about the market as the professional in the room.
That's a really good idea, because a lot of people who are wanting to come here won't know about how wonderful the markets are. One in most towns still in Portugal, thank heavens. The supermarkets haven't killed them yet. And what a great place to go and source some local grub and get it home fresh and get it cooked, which is exactly, I think, what happened yesterday. So, Owen, what is your experience of Portuguese markets? Can you illuminate that for people around the world?
They're fantastic, actually. The markets here are really, really good. You know, you've got your local producers that are there selling the wares, but then again, you've also got the people that have obviously been to a cash and carry in the morning and selling the stuff. But obviously, we tend to stick with the locals and the vegetables that still have dirt on them, which is what I prefer.
Rather than wax.
Yes, rather than the waxed foods. Yeah, definitely.
What?
Yeah, I think it's the freshness and the welcoming that you do get from the stall holders as well.
Yeah, no. So you make a very good point there.
And the other thing is,
go on, Doc.
The other thing is the price. We got a dozen eggs, a whole bag of veg, and still had change from €10. You know, it's sort of it was the sort of shop that would cost you 25 quid back in the UK. You know.
Yeah, superb.
And probably 15 in the supermarket.
Yeah, and you're walking away with enough change to go get yourself a round of cafe natas from the cafe, probably very close to the market. So a nice little trip out and a very Portuguese thing to do culturally, I think, there, to go shopping daily if you can. Lovely thing to do. And you're holding Owen hostage, are you? And he's got to cook his way out of the Casa Bramble Thompson. Is that right? How this game show is working?
Yeah. So Owen told us that he'd like to spend more than 24 hours with us, which is absolutely great by us because Leona is notoriously not a fan of the kitchen, and I'm kind of hampered a little by my one arm, one useful arm. So yeah, it's great. And Owen whipped up a fantastic meal last night. A beautiful feijoada, bean and pasta. I won't call it stew because it was much better than that. It was the best. And I've eaten some nice food. It was the best sort of one pot meal based on some beautifully fresh produce that I've ever had, and then capped it off with the best again. And I'm not being over whatever it is, effusive. The best chocolate pudding that I have ever had with a beautiful coulis of forest fruit. Beautiful.
There it is on the screen right now. You weren't over egging the pudding, you might say. So that is a beautiful looking dish there, with a bit of Vaseline on the lens, I think, as well there. And there is the beautiful feijoada. Can you please talk us through this, Owen? If somebody wants to cook that themselves, if they want to pop to the Portuguese market in the morning, what ingredients do they need to buy, and how would they go about serving that up for the rest of their household?
Well, it's the feijão, it's the white beans. I'm going to say this in English. I do apologise for not speaking Portuguese this morning. So it's the white beans. We have courgettes, we have carrots, onion, spinach, aubergine, tomatoes, and some macaroni in there. And all I simply did was I salted, first of all, the courgette and the aubergine, fried off the onions, garlic, and the carrot. And then we used a vegetable bouillon, a vegetable stock, and a bit of white wine in there, a bit of, in fact, the bottle, I can still see the bottle over there.
But it's empty.
It's empty. Some white wine in there as well. And then towards the very end, I added just a little bit of parsley and it was served up with the macaroni there as well. The macaroni was included inside that as well. So I can have the recipe available. I'm going to put that on my page a little bit later on the Food Alchemy page. So if anybody wants to try that, I actually got the idea from a fish recipe that was there. And because I was doing vegetarian, I eliminated the fish element from that and just carried on from there. But it was quite easy to make, and it's a one-pot dish as well. The thing that I did forget was the lovely crusty bread to go with it. That would have been perfect.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
and of course, the pudding, you know about the pudding anyway.
There is the purd with its volcanic chocolate seeping from its innermost self. Loving that, and the coulis there. Fresh fruit from the market as well in the coulis. Fruit from the market.
It was red currant and blueberry.
Beautiful, beautiful, absolutely lovely. Just a quick cooking question then. Why do we salt courgette and aubergine? What's that about?
Well, it's literally to drain, to get a lot of the water, the water that's within, obviously with the courgettes, there's a high water content in those, and the aubergines as well. So I've always done that before I cook them, and I think you do get a better flavour as well.
Certainly with aubergines, they can be bitter if you don't salt them.
Very much so.
Yeah. That's right. It takes out the bitterness as well, doesn't it? I like to put a bit of sugar actually when I'm cooking aubergine, and turmeric goes very nicely too with the aubergine. Or as the Americans call it, they'd be thinking, aubergine, what are they talking about over there? Eggplant to the Americans.
Eggplant.
That would be. Why on earth they would call it an eggplant, I do not know. The purple eggs of a dragon they look like, I suppose. Been watching Cobra Kai, so roundhouse kick the like button. Francis's guidance this morning. Yikes, Praia da Luz is an 11-hour train trip for me. Can we meet a bit closer, Ian Turner? Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. How about the Silver Coast? Gordon Ramsay, Jamie Oliver, I think from Owen there. Not comparing himself with those two arguably overexposed TV chefs.
He's much better.
He's much more authentic and honest is a conclusion I think we're coming to, isn't it? And bon dia from Pam in Alcabasta this morning. The Hola bon dia born today is Capricorn 12 day. Hold on a minute. Is it your birthday? Because we got into trouble yesterday mistaking the temperature for Victoria's birthday there. And it was a very good suggestion was made. What is your birthday in centigrade? It feels a lot better. Hola bon dia, born today, or the Hola bon dia jazz funk track of the day from Capricorn 12 is, or maybe it is your birthday. It will be, won't it? Because you're a Capricorn 12. Yes, of course. Parabéns, je vous sais. We're not making the same mistake as yesterday. Happy birthday to you, Chris. On this day, George Bezos, any relation? Kirstie Alley, Anthony Andrews, Des O'Connor, Joe Frazier, Oliver Platt, Pixie Lott, Zayn Malik, and Capricorn 12, and 12 of your own friends all share the same birthday. That's quite extraordinary, isn't it? What happens 9 months before the 12th of January, I wonder, to make... I know what happens, but what else happens apart from that happening? I think I should have figured it out by now. Not complaining, simply reporting. I'm going to add that to lots of things I say today as well, when it doesn't go my way. Healthy Move Portugal, fairly close. 1 hour drive to train and 2.5 hour train after that. Oh, okay, so an hour's drive and then 2.5 hours train. Let's hang out. So it could happen. The meeting suggestion is for Pombal from Matti for a get-together. So we'll see if the coach is up for that. Jean, this is here. Bon dia from stormy Iceland. Get those health and cooking questions in, folks. Food, cooking, health. and we'll answer the age-old question. We maybe let these two battle it out. Is it better to pay the cook than the doctor? One of my favourite phrases. Fingers crossed my son makes it to the other side of the controversial in a nasty blizzard, all to catch the ferry to Europe and drive down to Portugal. So fingers crossed, all the best to the young Mitchell there, Mitchell Jr., for a safe trip. Love my bestie, love my Capricorn peeps. My bestie for 37 years had her birthday at Christmas. So happy birthday to you, Chris, from Rebel Mama. A Rebel Mama birthday greeting. We can do that, but was thinking of you getting here and then drive down to Ian. A road trip, it's coming on nicely. We're going to turn it into an Algarve road trip, perhaps, all together in a Sharabang style. Jazz Funk Soul Track of the Day is, of course, Stevie Wonder's Happy Birthday. Brilliant, and especially for you. So if you don't mind playing that to yourself and thinking of us all, because I can't play it for you on here without getting myself chucked off YouTube. That'd be great, Chris. We know that your trigger alert video is just so you can have a sip of tea. That's right. I say something controversial, play that and have a nice sip of tea. Good morning all from Fiona and Simon this morning. Antonio F, I think we've already said hello, haven't we, Antonio F, with your Lusitanian warrior pick, and a parabéns to Chris this morning, and from Cindy B as well. Fellow Capricorn, when was yours? There are so many Capricorns in my life too. Cindy, have we already celebrated your birthday, or is it to come? Do let us know. My teenage son might be. We can drop him close to Lisboa on the way to visit his friends. So there's a plan afoot here, isn't there? Definitely. I feel the energy is moving in a favourable direction to have us all together. Fingers crossed for young Mitchell there to get to Iceland. I hope to get to Iceland, says Rebel Mama herself. There is a history type tour I want to take in Iceland. Yes, there's almost like a UK catchphrase there, isn't there? Rebel Mamas go to Iceland. That's a slight change to the original advertising slogan, I think. So we're talking about health and food this morning.
I like Iceland.
You do? What? So you can buy.
I like Iceland because the way they treat their bankers.
Okay, all right. So we're at 9:07, and a nice sideways political comment slipped in there. Nicely done, Doc. Did you want to respond? You're probably champing at the bit to respond to Pete's earlier comment about Boris lying. That is not prime ministerial behaviour, is it? Lying down in the back of the vehicle, if indeed that what he was doing. And if you'll indulge us, everyone else in the rest of the world, I know you're sick of Britain, Brexit, etc. But what do you think, Doc? What's going to happen over there in the UK in number 10?
I'll tell you what's going to happen. Absolutely nothing. I mean, it should. ITV were very scathing yesterday. They got a picture of him out for his early jog in the dark because that was all he'd risk in terms of, because he didn't want to get spotted or questioned. He's been lying all the time, as has been pointed out in Parliament yesterday as well. And the sight of a DUP, and I hold no truck with the DUP, but the DUP member of Parliament breaking down as he described his mother-in-law dying on her own in hospital at the same time that Boris Johnson was inviting people to bring their own booze to his private secretary. Yes. Yeah, he should have gone a long time ago. Nothing will happen. Yeah.
Yep. That was pitiful, wasn't it? I saw that. Very, very moving. And you would think that could be a moment of change that would strike us so deeply. This is for everybody now, because I don't think politicians being a little bit liberal with the truth is a new phenomenon by any means. We have quite a low estimation, I think, of politics and politicians around the world. Do you think it would help now if there was something we could call it the Great Reset, couldn't we? If Boris Johnson said, "Do you know what? I'm banged to rights. I have messed up, and I would like to step down. It's the only right thing to do," and to get a sense that he really means it, and to call for a real change in politics. Do you think people are we past that now? That would it be any ounce of credibility left on this rather sort of parasitical infestation that we call politics on humanity? Can it change?
I don't think that the current order, not just UK, but in the so-called liberal market economies, or indeed anywhere at the moment, can reform itself to provide a proper political process for the general population to rule through, to ensure that they are ruled through consent. We have quasi-fascist regimes springing up. We have the death of truth, the suppression of voting, the denial of democracy, and the legalization of murder. And I put it no less strongly than that. Government policies have killed thousands, tens of thousands of people, whether it be through inaction on COVID, benefit cuts, fuel poverty, food poverty, homelessness. All of that is legalized murder by the system, which needs replacing. End of story.
Not mincing your words there. And I mean, maybe we're asking for the impossible anyway, because we've got to scales of government now, haven't we, which are unsustainable. Because you could argue the same thing about some of the pandemic responses are also really hurting people and will continue to. It's the scale of this thing, isn't it? It's very interesting sort of, is it an illusion? I don't know, or an irony, certainly, that so many of these, I think as you called them, sort of these liberal, seemingly liberal capitalistic democracies have become incredible dictatorships. They came to power based presumably on small government, and they've turned out to be the biggest government ever of people's lives, lifestyles, and behaviour. It's perhaps an impossible task that this sort of thing cannot be done at the scale we have allowed it to, or asked for it to be done at.
The same is true. I mean, if we concentrate now on Portugal a bit, Portugal was screwed by the EU when it joined. It was screwed by the EU after the crash, and the EU policies are still dictating domestic policy in Portugal in terms of public expenditure. I mean, things are better here, certainly than the UK. I understand better than the US from what I've heard from my very good friends Hank and Connie. But we're still, Portugal is no different in terms of principle. It's just a matter of scale at the moment.
Yeah, all it seems to be about the scale, doesn't it? Because you can't foresee many bigger scales of operation and reach into people's lives than the European Union machinery. Okay, so we've really set things up for a really cheerful show this morning. That's fantastic. Ask anything you like about health and food. And talking of Hank and Connie, they are our special guests tomorrow morning. Hank and Connie are going to be here talking about their journey. Wherever they happen to be. They're looking forward to hanging out with them. And hey, Doc, great to see you from Victoria, celebrating 2 birthdays this year. Okay, food question from James. Been meaning to ask about Portuguese beef. Not one for the Doc, obviously, as a vegetarian. Looking for the equivalent of free-range, grass-fed, nature-fed, organic. Is beef in Portugal generally produced this way, or do I need to look for it specifically? I think it's the latter. What would you say, Owen?
Most definitely. I mean, going back to the video that we had a couple of weeks ago, last time I was on, you can find butchers that have full traceability of all the stock that they sell, depending on where you are. Really, for me, quality is definitely the key, and good animal husbandry as well. So I would say, rather than there's nothing wrong with the supermarkets, but for myself, to have that full traceability, you need to find a butcher, a fairly established butcher, that has the records of all the livestock, well, everything that they sell, really. Really good beef. As I say, the place that I generally go to in Sata is absolutely fantastic. The meat quality, yep. I haven't tasted anything like that in a good long while.
All right, so let's stay with beef for a little while, because if you talk to Michael Heron, who's in this slot on the first Wednesday of the month, He's got a really good supplier of steak. He's Argentinian or part Argentinian in origin. And those the South American folks are very serious about their beef production, aren't they? And beef quality. And I think they might share with me this awe and wonder that the Portuguese people must have some of the strongest teeth in the world, because sometimes when you get a little Prego steak or some of the beef cuts, they are tough as old Harry, aren't they? I think there are people who are used to a slightly more tender cut of meat and would like to source that. On that note, what is it they do with the Bifana? Because that has been marinated, hasn't it, to make it soft? That's one way of dealing with the tough old meat, isn't it? Do you know what they do with the Bifana? Do they give it a good bashing with one of those meat hammers and then marinate it to make it soft as well, Owen?
Well, unfortunately, Cal, the Bifanas that I have had up to date have that. Quite disappointed in I'm not going to say the place, obviously, but there's a place that I've been to on a couple of occasions in good old Alviagra, and the quality of the food hasn't been the best. And especially the Bifana, because obviously that's one of the things I've always wanted to try. I'm still yet to find the best Bifana in the area, so I'm still on the hunt for that. So I can't comment on that, Cal. Sorry.
You could always try
no problem.
Bifana while you're here.
I could try it. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, a good Bifana is an amazing thing, no question about that. But a bad one is a pretty awful experience, and can lead to high dental bills as well as nutritional dissatisfaction. And don't have the Mac Bifana, anybody, please. Okay, that looks like a delicious cuisine, Fiona and Simon. Let's just take another quick look.
What? Did you just say, Carl, sorry, did you just say Mac Bifana?
Yeah.
Are you referring to a fast food outlet, Carl? What have I told you?
Yeah. Yes, I know.
I told you about fast food outlets. Come on.
I thought I didn't say it was me that tried it and is warning everybody off it. Morning, Victoria. Less than a month, and I'll be in the Algarve. Coach Turner. So we've got the Hofmeister, not the Hasselhoff, the Hofmeister there, and Wham Pam together in the Algarve soon. Fantastic. Brian Taylor, responding to my request to learn more about you. I can't chat much as I'm listening while driving to jobs in UK, in the Durham area. Lovely part of the UK in the northeast there, but hopefully I'll be able to raise the cash to quit and join you all in sunny Portugal this year. Yeah, all the best with that plan, Brian. Chris Smith is here as well. Hola, bon dia from a rainy Washington this morning. How you doing, Chris? And happy birthday from Thunder to fellow Capricorn 12 there. My age in Celsius is 17 and a half. Makes so much sense. There you go. Lovely tip from Suze yesterday. And who doesn't like a lovely tip in the morning? Have to go to a camera after the show and hopefully can pick up my residency documents and more of a Jacques Pepin vibe with the authentic healthy ingredients cooked simple for delicious country fare. I do not know of the Jacques Pepin, but it sounds like a good saucer and cooker of food there by the sound of it. When are you coming to Braga? I think that's an invitation to everybody, isn't it? And soon, Raphael. We would love to do that. And Doc, sometimes I get mini hot flushes at night. I think due to my Hashimoto's, only symptom I've ever had from it. No rhyme or reason, though. Could it be food or metabolism instead? Sick of them. So can you speak on the Hashimoto and what might be done about it for Rebel Mama there, please, Doc?
Okay, so Hashimoto's, for those who don't know, is an inflammation of the thyroid gland. It's not an infective inflammation. It's a autoimmune condition. It's often linked to other autoimmune conditions. It leads to hypothyroidism. So I'm not sure that I'm not aware that it causes much in the way of hot flushes. I would gently probe what age Rebel Mama is, because she might be of an age when hot flushes tend to occur. In which case it would be more hormonal than Hashimoto's.
There you go.
And can be treated by taking things like wild yam, and wild yam having been the initial source of the natural estrogens that gave birth to the birth control pill way back in the middle of the last century, when I wandered out of the Central American rainforest with a rucksack full of things, walked into Mexico City and said, what are these people ingesting that stopped them getting pregnant during their fertility celebrations, when everyone basically had it off with everyone else and didn't get pregnant? And they were consuming vast quantities of wild yam, and it was the distillate of the wild yam that led to the contraceptive pill. Yeah, true story.
That's amazing.
So wild yam and other natural estrogens.
That's why it's called the wild yam.
And other natural estrogens can be used to treat. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Okay. That was a fun day at medical school, and probably a fun evening as well. Okay. Abel, morning. Thank you for that, Doc. Any more questions about health? Anything you like about health? Doc, of course, ex-GP from the UK, and the extremely talented Owen here, who can talk about food and cooking as well. Morning, people. Just self-isolated with COVID at the moment, but don't worry, I'm fully vaccinated, and soon we'll be back to normal. How is it for you, Abel? Good, and good luck with a speedy passage through that. I get well soon, mate. It's Wednesday, says Mr. Duck. I'm out early. Have a great day, Gumpers, and I'll see you tomorrow, day 254. When indeed, if the law of attraction experiment works, you, Mrs. Duck, will be opening the envelope to reveal the exchange driving license. I'm afraid the bankers in Iceland are up to their old tricks, Doc. You would not like the fact that the banksters are still up to their old tricks. 4.15% interest on mortgages. But back to the wonderful food. Looks delicious. Yes. Oh, dear. Sorry to hear that. Sack Boris. Him and his cronies have made the people look like a laughing stock after what the public has endured. Absolutely. Let's see what today brings with that. I know what an aubergine is in America. Lol. What was the other thing that Owen salted? I may not know that vegetable. Yes, of course, you Americans have got a different name for that as well. Owen.
Zucchini.
Yeah, zucchini, yeah.
There you go.
The old Italian influence.
Yeah, and makes a very good shadow
zucchini.
Puppet theatre. Yeah, a good shadow puppet theatre performance. That's Owen salting his zucchini over there in silhouette. Bon dia, Andy, from Antonio F. Here, Doc. Totally agree. I think with your bit of Boris bashing there. Tories want to keep Boris to absorb economy, cost of living issues, but will jettison him 18 months before an election for a fresh face who will tell you that everything will change. Are you going to fall for it, though? There's the thing. Started with Blair. Did it start with Blair? Question for you there. I say Sunak, most likely.
It started about 150 years ago.
Yay! Okay. All right. In Germany, in Germany, also known as the zucchini there. So we know what aubergines are. I'm so sorry, but there's no need for that sort of filth on the screen, Victoria. Honestly, I discovered myself. Honestly, Doc, what would you do for that sort of condition where it goes all purple with a nice green top on it? Antibiotics.
I can't see the comment because because
right.
we're looking at StreamYard rather than YouTube.
You've been spared.
So
You've been spared, mate. What would you do if it goes purple?
Watching it on replay.
And a green tinged top? But you don't have to answer that. Dawn Butler is a breath of fresh air.
I'd recommend some antibiotics.
Okay, she was injected.
Carl, I must say, it's a good job we're not talking about black pudding.
We are now. Dawn Butler is a breath of fresh air.
Right, we are now.
He was ejected from the chamber last year for telling the PM that he was a liar on several counts and refused to withdraw her statement. Yeah, she's fantastic. I do love the cut of her fiery jib, I have to say. So starting with Thatcher, I think Doc wants a bit more of a rewind on that. She just walked into that space that had been carefully conditioned, right, to do the things she did. Big government controlled by big money and corporate private interest. Yeah, remixed it right for the 80s. And this is the heart of it, isn't it? James is absolutely right here. I think big government controlled by big money and corporate private interest. That's what we're dealing with, folks. While the puppet show goes on at the front, I think that is indeed what's going on at the back. We all know that, don't we? Hear us, grown-ups. Do you think international banks can offer mortgages in Iceland in competition with the Icelandic ones, says Jandis. Talk to Jacqueline about that when we have her on next, Jandis. I'm not sure about that. I think you have to have mostly, unless you go to a private bank, you have to have official mortgages within the country where the money's being borrowed, right? Yes, Andy, I agree. American politicians sell us out to big pharma and insurance companies all the time, says the OLP. People much preferring to talk about the politics, it would seem, rather than the health and the food and the cooking. But let's see what the comments bring us. Rebel Mama, Thatcher and Reagan screwed much up. A bit down with a sore throat and cough, but still working, says Antonio F. Oh, lots of love to you, Antonio. Can't have you being a bit down this morning. I hope we're helping. Called it. Yay, Hank and Connie. Okay, I think this is going back a bit. So, Andy, did Hank hand over my present to Joel in Porto? Happy to be your PA this morning, Matty. Do you know, I had forgotten to ask in the man cave. So, if you'd like to guess what a German man recently living in Amsterdam gives to a man living in Porto, what would that be? And did it get there, is the question to you, Doc.
I don't know if it got there because I haven't spoken with Hank and Connie on that subject since. I do know what the present was, but I'm not going to reveal it.
Me too. I know as well. I know as well, but I'm not going to. Sworn to secrecy.
Oh dear. The missus, maybe it was black pudding. The missus says, "Get hold of your beef from the Azores."
Black Forest pudding.
It's Black Forest pudding from Germany. Excellent. Tastes so much better. So there's a tip for you. If you want beef in Portugal, buy I have done that. There's a nice brand of it in the supermarkets, actually. Nicely packed. It looks like it's been taken care of and well provenanced. Look who's here, everybody. Frank's here. Bon dia, ladies. Nice to see everyone. Nice bit of banter there from Frank. How are you? How's the Algarve? I'm sure it's fantastic. And life is good for you down there. Lots of love to you and Rachel, Frank. And the old Cachena beef here in the north is free roam always. Free range beef up there in the north of Portugal. Cachena, new one for us all over the national park and surrounds. Not sure it's available down that way. There you go. I lost my mother during this period of lockdown and no visitors, even though my sister tried to get access to see her in the last days. I feel particularly strongly about this utter hypocrisy. Absolutely right, Gary. I don't think I think everyone would sympathize with your lot. I found myself in similar situations that I prefer not to think about. That was a question for, and he's calling you the Dick now instead of the Doc. I think maybe that's a typo. As he was driving around with Hank, not sure he took them to them. So they are plural, whatever it was. Sorry, beef here is the worst. Best in Brazil and Argentina. Yeah, we're not entirely delighted by the beef in Portugal, but there are some exceptions there as we're sharing. So the English speak French. Haha, how very dare you. Courgette and aubergine. We Americans speak Italian. That's a good comment. Good comment. Azores beef. All right, no need to shout. And what is a Bifana? Owen, let's go to you for that. So what is a Bifana?
As far as I know, according to Andy, it's a pork sandwich.
Yeah, and it's not. So it's nothing to do with beef. It's not a Bifana. It's a Bifana, and it is. Yeah, I'll put a traditional recipe. Yeah, Bifana. Bifana. Despite the M and the C that some people want to put in front of it. So I'm putting up WeTravelPortugal.com's recipe for that, so you'll get the gist of it. But what I've discovered actually is quite vinegary often. I think the pork is soaked, and sometimes there's going to be a bit of vinegar in there. Sometimes a mustard sauce as well, which is rather nice, and little variations around the country on the theme of the Bifana, the recipe for which is now in the comments for you. Tell us how you really feel, Andy, about the politics there. And Bifana is a cheap. Right, did you want to say more, Andy?
On the workers. Yeah, arm the workers.
All right. Stop it. Morning campers, I've been marinating my tough old meat for years.
Penny, really? Morning.
Do we leave that there, or do we ask with what marinade? I suppose olive oil would help. I guess it helps with everything, doesn't it? Massaging with olive oil helps everything, I've discovered. Portuguese beef, unless from the islands, is not comparable to South American beef. There you go. You can easily access Uruguayan, Argentinian, and Brazilian beef here. Portugal is more about delicious pork meats and seafood, as we know. Thank you for that stout defense there. And prego is the steak sandwich. So the bifana and the prego.
It does depend where you're buying your beef from, Frank. It does depend where you're buying your beef. You see, I buy my beef from somewhere that's Premier, top of the Premier League, let's just say, Frank. That's where I buy my beef. Little football dig there, Carl, sorry.
Oh, yes.
Cheers, Frank.
So sorry for your loss made worse by the situation to Gary from Rebel Mama. Yeah, so many people in this situation, including the DUP MP, Member of Parliament, who was crying in Parliament because of the hypocrisy and how he felt it. A stunning moment. In the British Parliament there. No Blair without Thatcher. We started something here this morning. She is the mother of neoliberalism, and Reagan, possibly the daddy, right? Prego means nailed it. So there you go. Little bit of marbling on your Bifana cut ensures tender, wonderful Bifana. Okay, it's all about the butchering there. Unfortunately, we won't be able to come up during this visit, says Matty. Hopefully, I'll be able to come up next moving run to Braga. That was a comment to Matty about going to Braga, not to the rest of us, as far as I know. But Tony dialed it up to 11 with his new Labour movement to the extreme right, and Brown selling off the gold for a quick, buoyant economy. Doc, I'm 64, past the big M. Okay, so I don't have to. If you want, do you want to add anything to that? Well as your wild yam suggestion there?
It may be worth going and getting a full thyroid screen if you haven't already, in terms of your T4 and your TSH and your T3, because it might just be variations in the output from the thyroid.
All right, so not just a property description here in Portugal, the T3 and the T4, also connected to the thyroid there. Jacques Pepin is an awesome 86-year-old chef originally from around Lyon, France, but has lived in Connecticut for many years. He used to be on PBS with Julia Child, the Julia Child. Thank you. Worth looking up there, OLP, Jacques Pepin. Grilled secrets de Porco Preto from Alentejo, says Frank, one of his favorites there. And a suggestion. Little Tomar do a decent Bifana. Good to know as well. So maybe Owen, that's the place to go. And Matty and Raphael still sorting out their social life in the comments. We'll bring my 2 four-legged friends with me, says Matty. Hope you're not allergic. I'm afraid they are well trained. They are well trained. I can attest to that. My mum enjoyed meeting the 2 hounds. He looks like Yeah, but he looks like a character from Game of Thrones, doesn't he? With his 2 great big beasts on either arm. He just needs a big leather coat, I think. It's good to hear that local producers and tradesmen are doing well. The experience of meeting people and the sounds and smells of the local market can't be replicated in the Asda type shops. It's true. You'll love it when you come to Portugal. You will love going to the Portuguese markets. Please do it. Please support them. Please, can Doc advise how you go about getting a consultant for regular 6 monthly checks to monitor conditions? I need a rheumatologist and also a consultant for women's health. Thank you. Doc, over to you.
So within the health service, you go to your GP and you ask for exactly that, what you've just asked for. And you ought to be able to get routine, regular checks. If you've got insurance and you're in a predisposition to go private, then those sort of visits will be extremely inexpensive. Even without insurance, they'll be extremely inexpensive. With insurance, they'll probably be included in the decent policy.
Okay, there you go, Sarah. Thank you very much for that, Doc. And let's make our way through the comments because there's loads of them. Frank getting quite excited in the Algarve by the look of it. Just noticed Doc's pulling a sexy pose here. He always does. You should watch more often. And another question for you, Doc. Are there any issues with having COVID booster after finishing radiotherapy? Great question, Joe. Lots of love to you for a speedy recovery.
I'm just thinking, radiotherapy will suppress the immune system, so it will probably suppress the response to the vaccine, and therefore, theoretically, and I haven't read anything on this, but theoretically, from my knowledge, I would say there ought to be a gap between the end of radiotherapy and having the vaccine, but I would suggest that you ask either a consultant radiotherapist or a consultant immunologist that question. And if you don't, you should still have access to your radiotherapist if it's recent. Otherwise, ask your GP to get the answer.
There you go. Proceed with caution there, Joe, and seek help from your consultants there. We may devolve, and all the best, Joe, as well. We may devolve to an erotic cookbook. I think there's a very good chance of that as we grab our bifanas with both hands. And who doesn't like grabbing their bifana?
Rude food, Mark, too.
Rude food. I always have my friends with me on longer road trips as I won't leave them in the house alone that long. It is a rental. So wherever, love me, love my dog, Matty might say. Bon dia, Carly Torres from Abu. Abu is here. Started with Adam and Eve, that darn snake there. Snake on a stick with paprika. Have you ever eaten snake, Owen? It's not a euphemism. I just genuinely...
Ever. Hey, now steady now. No, I've never eaten snake. Anything like that is smoked eel. I've had smoked eel.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely gorgeous. So can I just say a quick thank you to my supporters on coffee?
Yeah.
Fiona and Simon, thank you. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, there you go. So that's the way. And how do we do that, Owen? With all the inspiration you bring? Maybe pop. Send me the link on WhatsApp.
There's a link. I don't know if you think there, Carl, for buying the coffee.
Okay. Is it already? Somebody already put it in the comments? All right, fantastic. All right, okay. I'm consider Anne is here, everybody. Anne is here this morning. And Cook, more than one cook here this morning. I'm considering moving to Portugal with my daughter and son-in-law. What is the average price for a 3-bedroom property, or is it best to rent? Sorry for not talking about food, lol. Not at all. Ask anything about Portugal on a Wednesday. Would also love to know what the traditional dish is. This is a great question. So much in it. Go on, Doc. You kick it off.
So average price, it depends what you want and where you want it. If you want a 3-bedroom luxury in the middle of Lisbon, probably somewhere over €500,000. But if you want a 3-bedroom house, reasonable condition, out in the country, but not totally in the sticks, you'll probably get away with 100,000.
Yeah, there you go. You can still get
if you want
great
something that's got a little bit to do. If you want something that's got a little bit to do too much, you might get away with 60 or 70,000.
But I will say, Carl, with that, there is a lovely house in central Portugal that has 5 bedrooms, loads of fruit and nut trees, and on sale for this cut price of €124,000.
True, I've been there. It's a beautiful house. Talk to Owen about that. An amazing part of central Portugal as well. Yeah, with all of the fruit in the garden ready to roll. Beautiful house, 5 bedrooms, 124. Did you say?
124. Yeah, that's right.
Wow, amazing. Okay, so there you go. And I would say, Anne, adding to that, it is best to rent, and so that you can go through the long and protracted process of having a great time finding your favorite part of Portugal. Okay, so renting will make sure that you don't get buyer's remorse, and that you can have a little bit of an experiment and a mosey around. If you rent in central Portugal or on the Silver Coast, for example, you'll be able to get pretty much anywhere in Portugal in a day, and you can go off on wonderful road trips, and you can fall in love with your favorite part. You'll fall in love with all of it, I suspect, but you'll be able to narrow down your focus knowing that you're renting and that you can take your time. And I don't know what if you're thinking of moving here, you might be on the D7 visa, so you'll need to show a lease for 12 months anyway, and that'll give you plenty of time to find the place you love in Portugal. Hope that helps on that part of it. We'll go over to Owen now. Sorry for not talking about food. We're going to now. Also love to know what the traditional dish is. Owen, this is a tricky one, but what would you say? Traditional dish of Portugal?
Well, I'm going to go with bacalhau because you seem to see the hungfish everywhere. But I would definitely say it's a regional thing. You know, if you search around, seek and you shall find. Different regions of Portugal will have their own regional dishes, and the time of the year as well. In particular, you know, the snail festival is Satar. That I can remember. Didn't indulge in that.
Eel festival.
The Eel Festival.
Garlic Festival. These are a few that we've seen.
It's a festival.
There's probably a Calavera festival somewhere.
Of course there is.
There is. We've got a lovely afternoon ahead of us today. We're going to go off and do a little bit more shopping, and I'm going to be making some West Indian patties of different varieties today. So when I do leave, there is a fridge full.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, and what I want to say to you on the traditional dish is reserve the bacalhau for a special occasion. Could be Christmas, or eat it with Portuguese people who know what they're selecting. Okay, if you want to hit the ground running here with a fantastic traditional Portuguese dish, go to the barbecue chicken shop. If you eat chicken, and go and enjoy that cultural. Yeah, we were there last night. Two chickens for the big family here, a big box of chips, couple of rice puds to take away, the piri-piri, the piquant sauce, and a bit of lemon sauce on there. That is a really good and traditional thing to do here in Portugal. The barbecue chicken, that'll be my suggestion to you. Don't look up. Now, that hasn't been mentioned much on the show recently, but that is a pretty good insight into where we're at, isn't it? Culturally, I think, and politically. So don't look up, or indeed behind the TV screen. Good shout there, James. Well worth a watch. That's incredible analysis of who we are right now as human beings in this particular culture. I love the fact that in supermarkets, says Chris, in Portugal, you can see fruit and reg. You can see me old mate reg. I think that's probably veg without all of the preservatives. As Mrs. Capricorn 12 says, it's nice to see the ugly fruit and the real fruit. Indeed. Thanks for that, Chris. Do you see many snakes in Portugal? And now the snakes have been mentioned. Or do they pretty much keep away from you? They do keep away from you unless you don't keep away from them. And we had a feisty little fella in our garden. He's about 1 foot long, and he was, I don't know, a centimetre thick, maybe a little bit bigger. But when challenged, he reared up and stood his ground. He was fantastic. I popped him in a box and took him up to the waste ground. But it was wonderful. And there are some, I think, 1 or 2 venomous snakes here. But it's not a big problem. You're not seeing that every day on the telly. You know, man dies from snake bite or anything like that. Help is at hand in the hospitals if you do get a bite. But it's very uncommon. But we do have snakes. Anything to add to that, gentlemen, about snakes in Portugal?
I've not seen one.
I've seen a few snakes, one or two, but I've never, obviously never approached them because I love looking at nature. So I just let them go happily on the way. Leave
them be. Let them enjoy that sunshine. Okay. There's an organisation called Fruit to Fair. Go on, Doc.
See them on the telly occasionally on the Parliament channel.
Nicely done. That sells the fruit as a disservice to snakes. So the fruit affair, the ugly fruit, bit of vocab for you there, that sells the fruit and veg supermarkets won't take direct to people in fruit and veg boxes. Oh, okay. It's the fruit and veg that the supermarkets won't take is sent direct to people in an organic box style delivery service. Look up Fruta Feia. Great shout there. And the Costa Diogo's here. Hello, bon dia. Is there anyone going to Portugal? I need one driver to drive my van. Need to go through Dover, all the tunnel. I'll pay, and I still need help to carry on filling the van. It's half full. If any drivers wants to come with me, road trip, another one with Diogo. That'll be fun. If you want to come from the UK on a road trip and help do a driving, 20th of January. And it sounds like there's a bit of room in the van as well. Just PM me. All the best to all. Thanks, Diogo, for that. Pork sandwich. Is there any vegan alternative? Okay, the vegan alternative to the beef and pork sandwiches we've been talking about. Over to you, Owen and the Doc, who can speak with some experience on this matter.
I will let Doc answer that one, because my vegan and vegetarian fare, well, vegan in particular, is not quite there. I'm still trying to get my head around plant-based foods and the like.
Okay.
So I'll let Doc answer that one.
So people's views are divided on meat substitutes. Some people say, I just want to just eat the veg as it is, etc. But you've got marinated tofu, seitan, and some of the other meat substitutes, which are very good. You can prepare to make a sandwich or a burger. I haven't seen any veggie Bifana specific products yet, but I guess they will probably turn up in the next few years. We have a food cart in the car park just across the river from us that we often go to, run by it's called Osandra. Osandra, that's not right. Anyway, they've been there for about 25, 30 years. They do standard Bifana burgers, hot dogs, etc. But they also do veggie wrap, which you can have without egg and cheese, or you can have it with egg and cheese. So it potentially can be vegan. And it's got freshly grated carrot, sweet corn, those mini chips, whatever else they put in it, and lettuce, spicy sauce, and it's huge. It's a great meal. So there are various ways you can approach that.
I would say as well, Carl, that next time you're on the Feel Good Friday with Jenny B, ask her. She has a really good recipe for a smoked tofu that I remember sampling, and it was amazing. But I couldn't tell you what the recipe. I'm not sure whether it was peanuts was included in there, but Jenny B has a really good smoked tofu recipe.
I can imagine there are some fantastic videos of people where it goes horribly wrong when they're trying to smoke tofu on YouTube. But you can check those out at your leisure. I would.
It doesn't stay in the pipe.
I would recommend. See, I've said to vegans, it must be awful for you here in Portugal, and they said no, not at all, because the fruit, the produce is so fresh. There's so many great vegetables and fruits to try here.
Yeah.
So it's kind of counterintuitive for me.
So,
and one of the great things you could have is one of the old portobello mushrooms, a great big mushroom in a burger. Well, that's delicious, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. What's sad is that the restaurants don't really do anything. To go out for a meal, unless you're going to an Indian or to a Chinese, or we've got an Italian behind us, but their standard vegetarian dish is a mushroom risotto, which is very nice. But there's not much creativity in the sector. In terms of catering for vegetarians and vegans. However, you are absolutely correct in terms of the produce and the ability to make your own fantastic vegan food. It is the best place ever. So I'm not a fast food fan, and I'm more than happy to live with fresh ingredients and less restaurant outings.
All right, and the other thing
did you notice the applause there, Carl? Did you see the applause there? I was applauding the Doc over the fast food comment there.
It's all GDP.
I'm not going to let it lie.
He's not, is he? You could get a slice of this Garvo's turnip. That if you're a hardcore vegan, a slice of fresh turnip between a bap would be pretty awesome. And that is what James is suggesting to Matty. The vegan alternative is called bread, pão in Portuguese there. Doc, Owen from Chris, talk to us about the feel food. What's that? The feel food that is turkey breast. I heard it was really good food to eat, especially when trying to lose weight. It makes you feel, oh, it's tryptophan, isn't it? Feel good food that is turkey breast. Any truth in that, Doc, do you think? Not for the turkey, of course.
I'm not aware of that either. Tell us a bit more, Capricorn. Tell us a bit more.
Okay, it's down to me then. I think there's a lot of tryptophan in turkey, and that's what's supposed to. Yeah. So I think we need someone who's got experience of that, who's eaten turkey to feel good and lose weight. Did it work? This is an interesting question at the moment with all that's being said about pharmaceutical companies, et cetera, et cetera. Andy, does the Hippocratic Oath still ring true? Or is it under a lot of pressure at the moment with the way things are going, Andy?
Well, up until, so two things. The Hippocratic Oath was replaced or supplemented by the Geneva Declaration. That was a kind of update on the Hippocratic Oath. We had to sign it when we graduated. It took in all the principles: first, do no harm, the question of the patient's own agency, their ability to determine their own decisions in terms of healthcare. But I'll go back to politics, I'm afraid. Karl Marx, in the Communist Manifesto, wrote that the bourgeois professions were being taken over by capitalism. That included the priest, the teacher, the doctor, and the lawyer. And those market forces and the financial pressures that are brought to bear on those professions have led to a twisting of their basic tenets, their professional tenets that they're supposed to hold to. So I don't think any doctor can obey diktats of government health departments and still hold true to the Hippocratic Oath or the Geneva Convention, their declaration.
Well said, son. Okay, thank you for that honest answer to that. There you go, LRP. Hola, bon dia, Carl, Andy, and Owen. A bit late today, but better late than never. Down the pub again, Jersey. Andy, when I go to repair my boots, I'm going to bring a couple of Pregos for them to use as soles. Not happy about Portuguese beef. Not that kind of meat sandwich, SW. What did I miss? Another replay day for me. Hi, we were talking about you earlier on, going through odd sleep patterns. Okay, we could talk about changing the show to later on in the day, maybe. Remember, Boris gets big support by English voters. Thank God I'm in Scotland, says Abel. And Doc, need to get that work up. It's only ever my THS. Thanks for that to you from Rebel Mama, Doc. There's good beef and horse meat. Oh, hold on. We need to...
Yes.
Yeah, horse meat in Lisbon. So people coming to Lisbon will be shocked, possibly. It's a cultural thing, isn't it? So there is horse meat in Lisbon in the Mercado do Praça do Chile. I lived in Brazil. Yes, very nice meat there in Brazil, says Diogo. Crikey, all right. So that's a turn up for the books, talking about food this morning. And Secretos de Porco, Andrew loves those. Yeah, some of the best pork, fed on acorns, I think, in the Alentejo. Rebel Mama, drink live vinegar. Hold on a minute. I'm trying to figure this out. Like Bragg's. Oh, Bragg's. Drink live vinegar. Like Bragg's with the mother for those heat issues. Okay, so like apple cider vinegar with the mother as well, okay, which you can get in Portugal. Besides, it's good for other things in your body. Yes, Honegar and apple cider vinegar. Good shout, OLP. Doc, I'm a desiccated natural... What? I'm on a desiccated natural pig thyroid for my hypothyroidism. Can I get that in Portugal? Couldn't find it on the drug list I researched. So have you heard of this, and is it available in Portugal, Doc?
No, I haven't, and I wouldn't know. Sorry.
Okay, Cindy B. Simple answer there, but we're none the wiser. I do have a leather coat. Actually, Serenity. Try Serenity, Cindy B, on that. I've had some great help from Serenity myself last night. Recommend them. Have a chat with Michael at Serenity. I do have a leather coat in Amsterdam. I'm not surprised to hear that. I'm going to bring it to Pombal at the next moving run. Yes, Neo, bring it to Pombal. My Hubs takes that on a daily basis. I will try. So, yep, the cider vinegar, fantastic. Even though of course he has leather pants. He's German, right? The lederhosen. Not sure they still fit though. We still want to see the picture of the ill-fitting. I've got an ill-fitting lederhosen picture. I will show you mine if you show me yours, Matty. Still need to lose some kilograms gained during September. Portugal vacation though. Still going back to that. Matty, nothing wrong with lederhosen if you're carrying a few extra pounds. I think it accentuates the lederhosen to be carrying a little bit of extra weight. My aunt has the 4th booster due to chemo, or is that right? Has had a 4th booster because of, so they've recommended having a 4th booster because she's had chemotherapy. Thanks for that, Andy. Check with the consultant there, Joe. It appears we've already devolved. Yes, it does happen earlier and earlier in the show, doesn't it? Good morning, everyone. I share here the wonderful assistance at the Furrow Hospital, public it is, and my friend had an intensive therapy for a heart attack he had. So great service there. Sorry to hear about your friend. Hope they're recovering well. Owen, is that a lava cake you made? Are dates grown in Portugal? I think that's a yes and a yes. Over to you, Owen.
It's a lava cake, yes. I mean, there's loads of different molten chocolate cake, lava cake. There are loads of different names towards it, but yes, it is.
Okay.
And that was probably, I must say as well, from all the ones I've ever done before, that would be the best one I've ever made yesterday. I actually silenced myself.
Let's have another look at that. I can almost taste it. That's so beautiful, isn't it? Fantastic. There you go. So are dates grown in Portugal? They are, aren't they? We do get dates here in Portugal. I'm sure of that. Certainly from down south. I'm happy to be corrected on that, mate. Yeah, certainly available, if not grown here. A medjool and the other ones that you get at Christmas with the little plastic fork in them. Another one for you, Owen. Have you ever jerkied snake?
Yes, I have. Stop it, Carl. Miss Innuendo, stop it. Stop it. Mr. I'm going to call you F for fast food.
So, okay.
It's a beef jerky. Yeah, come on. I know, yeah. But yes, you can jerk beef. Yes.
And Owen, how typically would you go about jerking something?
Carl, I'm not getting into this. It's early morning. It's early morning, Carl. No.
Western rattler with barbecue sauce. Okay, so snake tastes like chicken. Tastes foul, possibly. A bit late today. Hi, Carl and everyone. You join us at an amazing moment, Michelle, as we're going into the last few minutes. Oh, Anthony O'Dell, another one for the doc. Do type 1 diabetics have to pay for insulin, test strips, etc. in Portugal? And what would the treatment be like for myeloma? I have asymptomatic myeloma at the moment, says Anthony O'Dell. Can you address that, doc?
Not sure about about test strips. I'd have to look it up on the Infarmed. There's a website called Infarmed, INFARMED. They have the database of everything and the discounts that are basically funded by the state. So generally prescriptions aren't free, but you pay a heavily discounted proportion of the retail price. The discounts appear to vary depending on the kind of what the treatment is for. There are some regimes through which you can get free prescriptions, both all of them or just for specific treatments. The treatment for myeloma, I'm not sure what it's like here. I mean, the health service here is mature, it's well respected, they have very good hospitals, very well trained doctors, many of whom have worked overseas in the States or in the UK and elsewhere. So I'd be very surprised if there was any deficiency in terms of the treatment of myeloma, but I have no experience of it. And the incident thing, you have to look up on Infarmed. I'll see if I can find it myself. Get time this
There
week.
you go, Anthony. All right, Anthony, that, and I would recommend again Serenity. Great tip there, Doc. Thank you. Infarmed and Serenity would be a good combo. Thank you for that, Doc. And good luck, Anthony, with that. They have a restaurant in Phoenix that serves fried snakes. And I tricked my sister once and told her it was chicken. Oh, Abu, what are you like? She was so mad at me. I prefer octopus, no doubt. And again, a lot of people have been put off octopus by the Netflix documentary. But it is, I mean, for Anne Cook, it is a traditional Portuguese favourite. I ate rattlesnakes that are no longer there. And if you ate them, they wouldn't be, Suze. Rattlesnake Grill in Vancouver, BC. Not that memorable. Can't remember what to compare it to, flavour or texture. Gemini's in, and Anne thanking us for the replies there. Hi, Comrade Dog from Michelle. And Gary, my deepest condolences from Wolfgang. Good morning to you, Wolfgang, and thank you for that, for Gary there. I want to buy a place on the Silver Coast. San Martino de Porto is amazing, and so is Nazare. Yeah, that wipeout wave. That's what a lot of people think I got my scars from, was surfing at the weekend. No, no surfing at the weekend. How many bathrooms does that have? How many bathrooms does that have, Owen? Can you send a link? I thought somebody would ask.
There's one bathroom upstairs, and there is a toilet downstairs. There's a shower room, bathroom upstairs, and there is a toilet downstairs. 2
lavatories. That might not be enough.
Convert to a second bathroom.
Yeah.
Quite easily.
Yeah.
One of the smaller rooms would quite easily convert into a bathroom there. And also,
it's a bargain.
OLP. I was a vegetarian for 3 years, and only recently I tried veganism. But unfortunately, I seem to have a dramatic weight loss when I go on either. So I balance my diet out. I fast. I eat fish. Hardly eat any red meat unless it's goat meat. But yeah, vegetarian and veganism. Tried them. Not good for me.
Okay, and is that connected to the amount of bathrooms you should have, depending on your dietary regime?
No, that was just I'm looking at the chat on my phone, and I'm just answering questions from OLP there. So
okay, all right, fair enough. Javali as well. I bet you're partial to a bit of Javali if it comes up. A bit of wild game there. That's the boar, of course, wild boar. And pork and clams is another traditional favourite. I'm going to get hold of that. I'll cook it myself soon for my mother who wants to try that. She's loving the clams here in Portugal at the moment. Chicken is amazing here, I have to say. It's so true, Victoria. Thank you very much for that. We're a couple of minutes past. Are you gentlemen okay for 5 minutes more?
Yeah, we're sure. Good. Yeah.
Okay. Francesinha, there's the other one. A traditional Portuguese food. It certainly is. You can get it everywhere, but it's favoured up in north of Aveiro, I would say. Certainly central and upwards. And don't eat before you go out for that bad boy, the Francesinha. And that is available in a vegan version.
Yeah, that was very, very nice. Beautiful.
All right. Look at this.
Yeah, I think he was livid when I mentioned it, but
yeah, it's a disgrace. A disgrace. If you're single and in Portugal, this is a chat-up line you might like to use. You should see my mother-in-law's 3-kilogram chickens. Could work. Thank you for that, Antonio. Owen at the Capricorn 12 wedding, Mrs. C and I insisted on having patties for one of the evening dishes. They went down a treat. Fantastic. Yes, great food in it, the patty. Which you could, obviously, when you're drinking and dancing, ideal at a wedding reception. Great idea there. The Capricorns, Mr. and Mrs. Capricorn. Thanks, Antonio from the OLP. Paul, laugh that people talk about wonderful local fresh fruit and veg on the markets and then want to put it with meat imported all the way from South America. Yes, fair point. Some love, that's from Paul, some love a Francesinha, but I don't like it.
Yeah.
Sounds like the beginning of a poem there. A Francesinha, traditional food, but mostly in the north. And Fiona's here. Owen, we found a small barrel-shaped tin in the tinned fish bit of a supermarket at something like €40 for the tin. Not sure if it was a Christmas speciality. Any idea what it was? What would be a really expensive fishy thing in a tin for €40? It said eel. Would that be a smoked eel, like a 25-year-old smoked eel or something like that?
Potentially, but that's a ridiculous price to pay. I would have put it straight on the shelf and gone elsewhere.
That's why it was on the shelf. Probably it's been there for ages. Can I mention the
Probably.
Too Good to Go phone app? Too good to go. Owen has used it, I think, and it's such a good idea to save waste. So the Too Good to Go food. Avoiding food waste by the sound of it there. We have a Beyond Burger here in the freezer section. It's delicious and has very good reviews. I have tried those, cooked them for Mrs. M when she's been going through vegan phases. Not made with black beans, although I love black bean burgers. Yeah, there are some do a very good selection of vegan burgers, steaks, mince and that sort of thing. What's that giant mushroom? It might make a decent Bifana replacement. Absolutely. Portobello mushroom. Portobello. There you go. Portobello. Oh my goodness, we're going back a bit. Large, wild, field mushrooms. And a Questy Bob. Why do you think so many NHS nurses are going to leave? What alternative things can we do to heal ourselves if the NHS collapses, please, Andy? This from Mrs. M, and a good morning from her. This is a real and present danger for the UK health system, isn't it, Andy? What's your view on that?
Yeah. Well, this is an acceleration of a trend that had already started. So the number of doctors and nurses taking early retirement from the NHS grew steadily for the last certainly 5 years of my practice, and that would have been 5 to 10 years ago. COVID has understandably accelerated that, and the only response can be an opening up of training places and a granting of more visas. This is the only way that can be addressed in terms of healing yourself. You can use alternative remedies. You can keep yourself healthy and active. However, there will always be times when you need the health service. You ain't going to go and ask the local barber to take your appendix out. Yeah. You're going to want to make sure there's a surgeon to do it, and nurses to
not anymore.
A while and after you have that done. So this has to be addressed properly, and unfortunately, the government are not addressing it.
And the mandate's not helping either.
The same is true in Portugal. Portugal has a healthcare staffing crisis, and the government promised to address it properly. They promised funds for it last year and didn't spend those funds, did not recruit staff or stop them leaving the country. And it's a problem that's being magnified here as well.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for that, Doc. Grated raw turnip with vinaigrette. I had that on French Exchange. Right good, she says. Okay, so grate your turnip. And who doesn't like having their turnip grated in the morning? Perhaps politicians need a version of the Hippocratic Oath. Another thing for them to ignore, possibly. Tryptophan helps make serotonin found in tuna, chicken, nuts.
They have it in the UK. It was called the Nolan. In the UK, it was called the Nolan Principles, famously abandoned by every bastard in Westminster.
All right, steady on. Bontia, is there a tax-free threshold in Portugal? I think it's like 9K in the UK. I don't know off the top of my head what the lower level is. Let's put that to a financial person on a webinar or on another morning show. But thank you. Hold that one there, SW, or stick it on our forum. We don't know the exact number, do we, Doc? Let the accountants sort that out.
We don't know the exact number, less than the UK. There are all sorts of other ways you get money back through your NIF. So there, apart from the general tax threshold, you have allowances for various things like vehicle maintenance, healthcare, gyms. So they're there, and also you get. More recently, we've had the €5 per petrol subsidy for the last 3 months.
Yeah. And the NHR, of course, which you might want to look at in conjunction with such an approach. Go to the expatsportugal.com/community forum, SW, and ask that question. You'll get loads of answers on that from our community. And hello from Mrs. M to all you lovely people who are shouting out to me. You lovely people. And she's got a very threatening message. She's sharing a little bit later on in this thread here, and she's agreeing with Matty to go to the alternatives and the traditional. when the Western and pharmaceutical methods fail. It's all about balance, isn't it? And complementary and holistic, I would have thought. People, you just need to look and ask for good beef and taste it. Pingados and Continent have very good meat counters. Enjoy it. All the best to you. Jeff Jackson's here. Cindy B, that thyroid med is not available in Portugal. Thank you, Jeff, for that. It is not approved by the EU Medicines Agency. I asked Dr. Michael about it this week, assuming you mean Armour Thyroid. So sorry it's bad news, but at least it's cleared up there. Thank you, Jeff. A desiccated porcine thyroid is available from 2 pharmacies in Germany. They ship. Oh, Donna, thank you for this as well. PM me if you want the contact. So glad we've been able to help Cindy B on that, where it looked like we weren't going to. Turn it around in the call. That's fantastic. I have a picture of Carl in Lederhosen. Now, that's not good for anybody's health, I don't suppose. It's not prescribed by any sensible doctor. Carl, you're so naughty. No wonder Louisa loves you. For that, OLP. A question about health. Oh, stop it. He's really going on now, isn't he, about this SNS number thing. Is it possible to over jerk your snake? Is a question from Gary for you, Owen.
Gary, I'll have words with you later. Mr. Austin. We'll speak later.
Only if you've got enough Kleenex around.
Oh, stop it.
I'm not going to get drawn into this. Whether it's Carl, whether it's Gary, I'm not doing it. If you want to do things like this, leave it to the man cave.
Leave it to the experts.
I'm telling you both now, leave it to the man cave. Not in the morning.
Expensive lamprey, possibly off season, and now expensive when in season. Not an eel actually. So lamprey could be that €40 thing. Pies. Who eats all the pies in Portugal? And I think it tends to be expats, isn't it, who bake these and put them out at the old, sort of car boots and craft sales. Certainly in central Portugal, there are some marvelous pie makers, and I know that Aromaticus, Arwen there, she makes a good pie. That's very specific, very parochial, very local. But pies, Portugal's not a pie country apart from that little chicken pie they do, right? The empada.
Patties are good, Carl. Patties are really good.
All right, order patties from Owen. We've had some interesting too good to go things, usually veg, bread and pastries, but once a mix of offal and 3 litres bucket of fresh blood. 3 litres of fresh blood. Maybe that was no, I'm not going to say what I was about to say. Owen, have you ever jerked? She's not helping either, is she? Andrew, I heard that Francine is best when you find
no, not at all. I've seen that, and it was retracted. So no, I'm not even going to go there.
It's true about the Francesina. When it's full of cheap meat, it's an endurance test. So yes, go to somewhere that does it well. Jean, this from James, only here a few months and only local to Ericeira so far, but I haven't seen many pies, fresh made or frozen. It's not really a Portuguese thing, apart from the little empada de frango, which is beautiful, a nice little chicken pie. Okay, 100,000 at least nurses and doctors set to leave the NHS due to vaccine mandates. Support them! Hashtag 100K. Says Penny. We're still not over your earlier comment there. Lederhosen, time to share it on the show, Carl. All right, if you want. You can also jerk your chicken, especially popular in Jamaica, and any car boot sales near Braga. That might be a question that can be answered by somebody in the community. If not, take it to the forum. We should end there. You've kept us here till 10:15 with all this talk of jerking and beef and all that. Some of these nurses are fantastic and very caring. Yes, of course, who are leaving. It's a tragedy. We've asked anything about health and food. Gentlemen, a final word from each of you, if you will. Doc from Lereia, live this morning. He joins us on the 2nd and 4th Wednesdays of the month. Last word from you, and then we'll go to you, Owen. We need that link to support you, sir, as well.
Two quick words. The first is, anyone who hasn't tasted Owen's cooking firsthand, what are you waiting for? It's an absolutely fantastic experience. He's a lovely guy. And secondly, I've got to run because I've got a booster, which is the appointment's in quarter of an hour across the car park. So I'll hand over to Owen.
All right.
No, but I will be seeing you next Wednesday, I do believe, and we'll be using the good old dorada. The dorada fish, which is very, very popular here. And I'll let you into a little thing. I'm going to be starting a supper club in the spring, maximum of 14 people. So if anybody sparks interest in that, I'll give you more details about that next week, Carl.
Supper Club and Grill Dorada live from the amazing Austin Brothers Studios in Alviagra next Wednesday. Tune in for that. Hank and Connie tomorrow, and Feel Good Friday is Philomena this Friday. Anything you would like to ask Philomena? I've got a message to play you. Can't do that this morning, or maybe I'll do it at the end here this morning. But anything for Philomena you want to know about the language or the culture, join us then. Hank and Connie tomorrow. Webinar tomorrow night, anything about buying and renting in Portugal. And we talk to Wiley on the Expats Portugal plan at 9 on the exclusive there for the Premium Plus members, and Feel Good Friday. Join us for that with Philomena. Ciao, ciao. Bye for now.
Ciao, ciao.
Olá, pessoal. Filomena here. So, for this week, I'm waiting for your suggestions or something that you are struggling with in your Portuguese language. And so, I hope you give some suggestions to Carl or to me on Friday. Okay? So, see you on Friday. Boa semana.